Hi, this is John from Performance Architects, and I'm here to talk to you today about Oracle Business Intelligence 11g and to give you a few tips and tricks related to Oracle Business Intelligence 11g's cache functionality. What I'd like to show you today are some basic principles in and around caching and how you can use them to debug reports that you're running in OBIEE. The window that I have open right now is the Oracle Business Intelligence Administration tool. I'm running OBIEE version 11.115, and what we're looking at is the OBIEE repository for sample sales. I chose sample sales because it would be something that you can also perform the same steps that I'm performing to see the same results, and that way you can use it as a learning exercise. Okay, so when you run reports in Oracle Business Intelligence 11g, there are two places you want to look to see the outcome. So first is in Manage Sessions. Here you'll see the OBIEE metadata SQL that it produces. And that way you can see whether or not it actually ran, but more than that, you can also see whether or not it was successful and also how long the particular query took. In this case, this particular report took 2 seconds, shows me when. Well, every time you run a report, depending on how you've set up your metadata repository, you'll find when you go to, in the OBIEE administration tool, when you go to Manage Cache, that there'll be entries in here. Now right now I don't have any entries, and that's because I had previously cleared cache. Now that's an interesting thing. You'll notice that even when you have the cache cleared, you'll still have entries here in your session manager because they are recording what you've previously run. So let's close all these cursors and try to run from the beginning. So I'm going to Dashboards, Sample Light, Quick Start, and I'm going to the Overview tab. Okay, looks like all the reports have finished running. Let's go back. The sessions should basically look very similar to how they were, but this time when we go to the administration tool, we'll have entries for our cache, and you're able to go in and see information about each one of these cache entries. It'll tell you what your server is, number of entries in the cache total, maximum allowable entries, basically all the statistics that you can set using various server related functions. For instance, in the WebLogic administration console and in your NQS config ini file, you can set these various thresholds for your cache. Now, there's two ways to look at the cache entries in the admin tool. One is you can look at all of them. You can sort them by the categories at the top. Also, you can look at cache entries by subject area. In this case, there's only one, and also by user. And also in this case, there's only one user. This is very helpful when you're looking to debug something perhaps for a very targeted subject area and you don't want to remove any cache that other people may be using. In fact, you can actually go in, show SQL, and see what the actual SQL is. In this way you can find which particular cache entry for a particular report you want to get rid of. So in this case I'm going to get rid of this one here, and it purged the cache for that particular entry. If you want to delete multiples, obviously you hold down the shift key and then right click and then also purge, or you can do select all and then purge. You can save the SQL. You can also copy the SQL. So the reason I was able to get these cache entries is because in sample sales, my various tables had settings here, cacheable, and cache never expires, which by the way is really not a good setting. You should choose to have a cache persistence time something similar to 8 hours or at least 1 day. Right? That's a much better practice. But the reason I was able to get the cache entries was because this was checked. And just to do that a little bit slower, I had gone to my particular database, to a particular table, right-clicked, and then I double-clicked, and then I went and looked down below, and here's my cacheable checkbox. Okay, so I've shown you one way through the admin tool to clear cache. I'm actually now going to show you another way to clear the cache through the user interface. So what you want to do is go to the Administration tab, scroll down, go to Issue SQL. For those of you who haven't used this before, this is a place where you can run SQL, which is metadata SQL, not Oracle SQL, to get the output. It just outputs the raw data, and it gives you an idea of how the report will run using the OBIEE server. In this case, I'm going to call a special function. Type in call sa purge all cache, and you want to put parens after that. Make sure you have the use Oracle BI presentation services cache, and then issue the SQL. And you'll see here, operation sa purge all cache succeeded. Now we'll be able to validate that actually was successful by going back to manage cache in the OBIEE 11g admin tool, and as you can see, all the cache entries are gone. This is a very helpful way to get rid of cache entries without having to go into the administration tool for whatever reason that may be. If you do a search on sa purge on Google or in the help files, you'll also see that there are other functions of sa purge that will purge a subset of data. Very handy feature, but just be wary that that does not actually clear, as I said before, the cursor entries here. Right? To clear that, you actually have to use this close all cursors. And just be careful, because if users are running reports, that will affect the outcome of rerun reports. You really want to, you'd be best to do this if there were just yourself or a limited number of users, and you're clear to do that. It's not recommended you do that in a production environment. And also cancel running requests. So I hope that was very helpful for you as just a basic overview of a couple of different ways you could clear cache in order to help debug reports. You want to clear the cache when trying to debug reports so that you're not using pre-existing cache, and the OBIEE server is then going and making a round trip to the database to retrieve a fresh set of data. Thank you for joining me today, and we hope